So hi, Illinois podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
Happy Wednesday.
Yeah, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
I don't. Sure, it's certainly a Wednesday. This week is absolutely flown by. I don't know. Couldn't shoot on Monday. Tuesday. Don't talk to me about Tuesday and the chaos.
We had 7 interviews on Tuesday. Actually, 8.
It was supposed to be 8.
8.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was supposed to be 9. Oh, and 7.
Yeah.
We had 7.
Yeah, we had 7. We shot a throwback review. And now we're up way too fucking early on Wednesday shooting the podcast. The grind never stops.
Please subscribe to our Patreon. Please subscribe to us on Twitch. We take donations. We don't get paid for this.
It's all for the love of the game.
Love of the game.
It's all for the love of the game. But yeah, we wanted to, we got a pretty fucked up schedule the next couple of weeks, so we wanted to get this out and get these records chatted about. Because our schedule's up in the air, so we could be missing 2 weeks and having to cover all those records. Sounds just as miserable as getting up at 9 a.m. to do this. So we just decided to do this and figure out the rest of the schedule when we get there, instead of having yet another week's worth of music stacked on top of the weeks we know we're probably going to miss.
I'd rather not.
But we both went to some shows. Last Thursday, I saw Architects, Erra, and Holywatr on the tail end of Architects' headline US tour. I was very excited. It's been over a year since I've last seen Architects. It was only going to be my second time seeing them, which for like a band I really like, that's like, wow. It's get your numbers up, buddy. But Holywatr was the first band. They were pretty awesome. Glory spoke very, very highly of them, and especially their live performance. I wasn't totally sold on the studio stuff. Like going in, I checked it out because they were the one band on the bill that I was not familiar with really at all, besides the couple of tunes Glory had showed me. And
one of them doesn't count.
Yeah,
I jumped my GF at Coachella does not count. So you only heard one song. That song fucks.
Yeah. They wound up playing it. It was dope, but the newest one, not the Coachella song.
So
but their stage performance was awesome. It sold me a little bit more on the band than I was going initially in. I thought it fucked. They have crazy stage performance, and the songs translate a lot better live. That's for sure.
Incredible. Yeah.
And I really dug them. Took a while for me to find, I post clips of each band I'm seeing on our Instagram story. It took me 3 tries to find their Instagram. I tagged.
Isn't it just Drink Holywatr?
I tagged various different Holywatr accounts before I tagged the correct one.
There's no E.
That's just a me problem, I guess. I was very confident that I knew the at, and I didn't. And then Erra performed. It was like my 7th time seeing Erra. So talk about bands I got to get my numbers up on. Jesus Christ.
Get your numbers down on Erra. Just start avoiding tours if they're on there. Not for any bad reason. It's just you've seen them too many times.
They just
you might as well join the band.
They always tour with the bands I want to see. They were great as always. They have like a very captivating stage performance. I think JT's a very impressive frontman. And their tunes are always very bouncy. This is only my 2nd time seeing them off the back of their newest record cycle, so they played mainly the songs off the most recent record, Cure, as well as one of the new singles that they dropped from those 2 singles that dropped over the course of 2 weeks earlier this a couple of months ago. So yeah, they were great as always. I'd seen online that like the light show this time around was nuts for them. Like people were having a hard time with the lights, and I saw one of the band members address it like in the Reddit comments. He like commented and was like, "We'll take note of it," and it wasn't as intense as what I got from the post, but there were a couple of moments where I was like, why do the lights are sweeping way too much and way too fast, and there's too many strobes while the lights are sweeping way too fast. So I guess, but I didn't have that much of a problem. I was lasered in on the fact that the band was rocking as the other 6 times I've seen them. I thought they were good. Erra typically goes up there and does their thing, and you kind of know what to expect. And I respect that about them. And then Architects, they're so fucking good. The set list was mainly newer stuff. Basically all newer stuff, which is totally fine. That's the shit I fuck with. And the crowd went absolutely bonkers. There was a couple of points where I took my earplugs out to see if I was dreaming or actually the crowd was louder than Sam, and the crowd was louder than Sam at certain points. I was like, am I at a K-pop show or am I at a metalcore
honestly, I've never
show?
seen that before.
People were going fucking nuts. I mean, there's some songs off that new record that are just absolutely ginormous right now in the context of the scene and the band. It definitely translates live. They're so fucking good. They have such incredible stage performance. Sam is such a captivating front man, and I always have a great time seeing them. So tour's wrapped up, but next time they're in the US, if they're coming near you, peep those dates, because they're quite the live band.
Hell yeah. All right. And this past week I went to the God as a Weapon tour, which is Sleep Theory, Wage War, Tech Nine, and Falling in Reverse as the headliner. I did not get Slaughter to Prevail or Hollywood Undead. Apparently they wanted to start that addition to the lineup in the next date. So that's cool. Whatever. I didn't want to see those guys anyways. Unfortunately, due to traffic and me traveling with a group, I missed all of Sleep Theory. As I was getting to my seat, they were leaving the stage, and I said, that would have been nice to see, because I like their music, and I've wanted to see them live for a bit, so catch them another time. Then Tech Nine was on. Honestly, all of the bands and artists came on like 5 to 10 minutes earlier than they were scheduled to, which was a pleasant surprise, because I was like, fuck, I gotta sit here for 30 minutes now waiting for Tech Nine. Of all people, Tech Nine. I don't know why. No, I do know why I have something against him, and I'll leave that. So he comes on stage, and honestly, his band looks cool as fuck. I mean, they're all like matching and like red, so I'm like, okay, I'll let you guys go. There's so many little things that are just like aged about his performance. He's been doing this shit for a minute.
He's
so
been doing it
it's
a long
kind of
time.
Yeah, right? So like his backdrop, I put it on my story because I thought it was just the funniest thing ever. It was like this like generator, like the shit that you see like your grandparents put on like Facebook, where it's like updated profile picture and it's like them edited with like angel wings or something, and they're like, look at this cool thing because I found a generator online. Shit like that. Was just his backdrop, and it was just the flames and him just kind of growing and shrinking. It was crazy. His performance was fine. I'm not a Tech Nine fan, but my friend that I was with is a massive fan. She grew up listening to him when she was younger. Her comments, because as I said, I'm not well versed in his discography, but her comments were, he wasn't playing like his older big stuff. He was playing like old stuff that didn't really hit it off. It was like nothing that she was like a huge fan of when she was younger, and it was like newer stuff. She was just really confused at the set list because the last time that she saw them, he was playing all the hits, and it was crazy. Now, from just a viewer standpoint, someone who's kind of unbiased from his discography and all of his songs he's played, his stage performance kind of sucked. I'm not gonna lie. He did not move, really. He kind of stayed in the center of the stage. He would do like little like hops and like jumps and stuff. And when he did start moving, I was like, shit, okay, all right. And then he would stop. And I would be like, oh, you're just gonna like stand there for the rest of that. That's fine. I understand he's older, so maybe, it's just like I don't have to do that anymore. Like he already has his credit. He's already Tech Nine, But it's like, still, the crowd loved him, so I was hoping he was going to feed off of that energy a bit more and maybe, run around a bit, kind of get in the crowd. Not like get in, but, like get close to the crowd. He never really like bent down and, interacted or anything. So that was a bit of a disappointment because, I don't know, my expectations were different. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I was expecting still like a good show. Then after Tech Nine, it was Wage War, the band that I was most excited to see there because I did enjoy their album, Sigma.
Stigma.
Stigma. I enjoyed their album Stigma. The entire time I was there, I was like, fuck, is it actually It can't be Stigma. There's no fucking way it's Stigma. Stigma. I enjoyed that record a lot, especially Nail 5, which was one of the lead singles, I believe. That one is still on repeat for me. I still listen to that, and I'm so happy they played it because I went a little crazy. I was hell yeah to that song. Band was incredible live. Genuinely, like, such a solid set list. The crowd really enjoyed them. Almost everyone stood up for them because it was a amphitheater. So, you got lawn, you got a bunch of seats, and you have the tiniest pussy ass little pit there. He was trying to split the pit, and literally no one moved. He was like, I'm gonna need you guys to cut it right there. And he did the split motion. And literally no one moved. And I was like, what the fuck is happening in there? Like, you guys are in a pit, you can move a little bit. I saw one person, when he did like the bring it together thing. Again, never split, so there's nowhere for people to bring together. I saw one person kind of run from one side to the other side, and I was like, that's an energy that everyone should be having in there, but they didn't. Wage War was incredible. Stage presence was great. They got in, they got out. I think it was like a 30-minute set. It wasn't anything crazy. I mean, they're an opener, so kind of expect that. Yeah, really big fan of that. Really big fan of them. Next time they're in town, I would love to see them again because, and longer set, hopefully, because again, I fucked with it heavy. Vocals, angelic. I don't know. There was a couple of songs where I was sitting there and I was like, fuck, you're kind of moving me a little bit. I don't know what's going on, but I feel something. I'm feeling it. And then, again, due to being with the group and everyone being tired, I did not get to see Falling in Reverse, though I have seen Falling in Reverse at least like 4 times in my lifetime. In the past maybe 2 years, I've seen him at least 4 times. So I can say I'm sure stage presence was incredible. He always does a good job interacting with the crowd. Honestly, I do think he's a great performer. I think he knows how to work a fucking crowd. He knows how to work a stage. You can't miss him. It's always very impressive. I did look at the set list. He didn't play oh God, it was Bad Girls Club. And I know he doesn't really like that song. He thinks it's dumb or whatever. But you're playing I'm Not a Vampire. You're playing Situations. You can play Bad Girls Club. You don't have a limit. There's no line to be crossed because you've already crossed it. So just play it. Another reason why I did choose to skip out on his set this time was because it is a lot of his newer stuff off of Ronald, his newest record. And if you watched our review on that record, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's very repetitive, and it's just not my favorite. So I did not feel like sitting through a 18 track set list where about 15 of those are off of Ronald or more recent projects, and his newest single, All My Women or something, was on there too somehow. I was like, that just came out. Why the fuck is he? So all that to say, great show. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Good sets.
Hell yeah. On Saturday, I saw Chevelle, Alexandria, and Dead Poet Society on Chevelle's summer headlining tour supporting their new record, Bright as Blasphemy. I was very excited for this. I have not seen Dead Poet Society, although I really, really like them. Alexandria live, I can take it or leave it, and Chevelle was really good the last time I saw them. So my expectations were high for most of the bill, in hell for 1/3 of the bill. Dead Poet Society absolutely ripped. They're such a great live band. They're genuinely just such a great band, honestly. And the holy fuck, the bass tone was just insane. Just absolutely nuts. You could feel that shit in your soul for the entire 30 minutes they were on stage. They played Hurt, which I like that song a lot. They played a majority of stuff off their record before Fission, which I thought was a little odd considering Fission is the new one. But I knew the couple of songs that they played off Vision because we had them on the podcast last year, and I spent a little time around with that record around that interview and whatnot because I thought it was really good. And I was just glad to finally check them off the list because they've been gaining a lot of popularity off the back of that record and off the back of Hurt off of that album. That song really took off, and I just haven't been able to see them. So they just so happened to be at a show I was going to, which worked out in my favor because I finally got to see Dead Poets Society. As in Alexandria, I was not the least bit excited to see. The last time I saw them, it was absolutely abysmal. They got upstaged by the entire support bill that they had brought along with them. And I didn't know what to expect. And all of the stuff that has happened this year around Warped Tour and all that, it's just like, well, whatever. They're gonna be there, but I wish that there was like a big skip button for like 45 minutes ahead. I was pleasantly surprised though, like, in terms of sets I've seen Ask Alexandria play, this is now my third time. This is up there. I thought it was good. It wasn't impressive by any stretch of the word. I still think that the band is not the greatest live band of all time, but considering how awful it was last time I saw them and how disappointed I was,
so because the bar was in hell,
this time it was actually serviceable. Like it was okay in the grand scheme of things, and for them it was pretty good. Danny actually seemed somewhat into it for most of the set, which has been a complaint people have had basically all year, that he just does not seem locked in at all, and he seemed interested for most of it and engaging. They brought Paul back to do backups, which was a very smart idea, and the band just seemed a little bit more locked in than they've seen previously. So I can't complain. I thought it was a solid set, all things considered, especially considering where my expectations were. And then Chevelle, I was very excited to see them. The first time I had seen them, like, I knew of them, but I didn't have enough time to figure out what songs they were playing. I kind of went in blind, and it was good. I knew that they were a good band, but I had no idea what the fuck was going on because I didn't know any of the songs. Now, I spent time with the new record. I had time to spend time with the set list and know what they were going to play, and it absolutely fucking ripped. They're such a solid, tight band. It's insane to me that they sound the way they do as a three-piece. They sound so full for there only being three people on that stage, and they just go up there and they just rip the shit. It's very early 2000s, the way they just go up there, no fucks given, and just absolutely rip the shit out of the instruments and leave everything on the stage, and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And they just walk off like nothing even happened. And they're just a very impressive live band. They played the singles off the new record. They played all the hits, all the songs that you know and love. Pulled the deep cut out off the first record. It was just a really, really impressive night. That tour continues on for a long time. So peep the dates, see if it's coming near you. Chevelle's a great band. Coming up for me, I got Korn and System of a Down 2 nights in a row. And then I bought Polyphia and Wisp. And then I bought tickets to see Poppy next Thursday. Because
when did that happen?
Yesterday I checked it randomly, and there was a resale ticket for $25. Face value,
everyone's seeing Poppy.
And face value on the show is $55. And I was like, I guess I'm seeing Poppy. I wanted to go anyway. I was holding out. But for $25, I won't hold out any longer. We got a bunch of records to chat about.
Like too many. We have too many fucking records.
You know the vibes. Kicking it off, We Came as Romans dropped a new album, All Is Beautiful Because We're Doomed. I've been patiently waiting for this record. It feels like for some reason it's felt longer of a wait time than it actually was. Might have had something to do with going to the tour a month before the record came out, and then wanting to have those songs that they played live for me to consume when I left the show, but having to wait another month to hear those on Spotify. I've been spending a lot of time with this record, since it came out on Friday. This was the one that, like I said, I was most excited for from the week. And it's just, this is really just a continuation of Dark Bloom, and I feel like it's even a little bit more like cohesive and kind of has a vision, whereas Dark Bloom had like very massive singles that were so much driven for like radio, and then some like insanely slow moments that kind of just killed the vibe of the record, and then like the non-singles, and not like lyrically, because I understand what they were talking about lyrically, but just like in the sonics of coming off the back of these 4 or 5 ginormous singles, and then just sonically dropping a weight on the ground, and then not really, I like the record, but not really picking things back up. It kind of staying like this middle of the road in terms of energy for the rest of the record. And it kind of just feeling a little bit scattered sonically. Has me feeling like, this is absolutely a continuation of Dark Bloom in terms of what they're going for sonically. Like they're going for the modern metalcore sound, the octane core sound, which is fine. I eat that shit right up. But there seems to be a little bit more of a vision here, and the track list, in my opinion, flows a lot better. Because there's not any like truly slow moments on the record, but the slower songs are baked in nicely around songs that absolutely pick the energy up. Like, where, like Culture Wound, Where Did You Go, and No Rest for the Dreamer is the perfect example of Where Did You Go being a little bit on the slower side, but Culture Wound and No Rest for the Dreamer being just chaotic enough to not even make you realize that you listen to 3 minutes of slower music in the grand scheme of things for a metalcore record. I really dig this album. I love the way it opens with the first official track, Bad Luck, although I think that All Is Beautiful sets the tone very nicely for the album, what you're going to be getting into. Lake of Fire, Red Smoke, One by One are all batshit insane.
Red Smoke is my favorite.
Yeah, absolutely fucking insane. No Rest for the Dreamer is quickly becoming a favorite of mine. I know that was a single, but it's resonating a lot more with me on the album, and I'm realizing how insane that song is. Circling a Dying Sun is probably my favorite non-single. It's a little bit more of like, it's a little less heavy and more of this big sailing chorus, but I just think it's insanely catchy, and the vocals are very strong on that song. Knowing Pain is another absolutely batshit insane song, and then the way it closes with Because We're Doomed is a nice way to tie it together. I like the way that they kind of split up the album title to bookend the record. I like that just from a visual perspective. But yeah, this record is absolutely bonkers insane. Better than I was expecting. To be honest, this totally blew me away.
I completely agree. So with Dark Bloom, I liked it, but I didn't really return to it. I didn't get too much from it. I remember just thinking after finishing it a couple of times, going, yeah, no, that's a solid record. I completely agree with everyone who's saying, they're back, they're doing crazy shit, this is incredible, you have to check it out. 100%, no one lied on that. But this record has something a little special in it. This shit, as I said, Red Smoke, off first listen, had me and made me go, okay, this might be a record that has to be considered on a certain list. It has to be put on there just so it's something I revisit and I remember. It's like a little bookmark for me to go, you really liked this, please check it out. I really enjoyed just the flow of it. I thought it had a lot of melodic. Oh, there it is. Melodic.
Buzzword.
Buzzword. It was heavy as shit at some moments. I completely agree. I think even with the slower tracks, they are kind of scattered throughout the record, but they did a great job bringing it back up immediately after that and not letting it kind of kill the vibe like they did with previous records. Honestly, I'm sold. I think that this record is some of their best work that they've done in a long time. And I fully get it. I fully get it. This is We Came as Romans. Yes, I'm on board.
Yeah.
I get it.
I've even seen their peers posting that this is like their best work yet. I saw them share a story from Eric from I Prevail a couple days ago where he was like, boys, like this is your best this is your best work yet. And I was like, I love to see that because I'm feeling the same way.
Yeah, hell yeah. Signs of the Swarm dropped their new album To Rid Myself of Truth. We spoke with David from Signs of the Swarm. You could go check it out. It was an incredible conversation. Honestly, one of my favorite interviews we've done in a minute. I don't know. It was funny. It was serious. We hit like every note on that interview, and it was chock full of information. So if you're a fan of the band or if you want to learn more about this record, watch the interview because he gave us every detail. It was awesome. This record, as I've said before, the history of the podcast, the heavier stuff that is kind of more in line with what this record is typically isn't what I'm gravitated towards. I think it's good. I can respect it. And I just kind of leave it. But with this record specifically, I think they find that happy medium of super fucking heavy shit and then also stuff you're able to follow. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying. I don't know if someone else would get what I'm saying. Where it's kind of just like
there's
you
some
can
melody.
Yeah.
Melodic.
It's melodic. Damn it. Do I have anything to say? Am I just throwing that buzzword
Just
around?
throw it. I'm going to throw up a tally counter.
You know what? I'm 2 for 2 right now. No, it is, but it truly is. I think they have that great balance of you could see yourself bopping to this and not just like punching the daylights out of someone to this, because that's typically how it goes with like deathcore and super heavy metal, but with this one there's a really good balance. Obviously with the features, they go the full deathcore, specifically with the Will Ramos feature. Fucking shout out my Puerto Rican brother, hell yeah. So yeah, no, I think it's incredible. I think it checks every box. As I said before, I'm not the target audience for it. My favorite band is Don Broco. So take that as you will. I'm very curious to hear your review, though, since this is more of your speed.
Yeah, I think this record's incredibly solid. I mean, we talked about it on the interview with David, which, like you said, was a phenomenal chat. But Amongst Alone and Empty, moved the needle for them in ways that they really weren't expecting. And I do really like that record. We had chatted with Bobby about it. And I think that record's solid, but it was just kind of like ripped my fucking face off, and that was it. And that's what that's really what I want when I listen to this kind of music anyway. But I do feel like this album levels it up from Amongst Alone and Empty, and really makes a statement even more so than that album did. I think there's some moments on this record that are super digestible because they are melodic and whatnot, but there's also plenty of moments that are very much signs of the Swarm that are just like, how absolutely batshit insane can we get? And I really dig that, and the dichotomy of that. The feature pulls on this album are absolutely insane, with Will from Lorna Shore and Phil from Whitechapel, back to back too.
They knew what they were doing with that.
You're trying to kill me. And then Fear and Judgment with 156 Silence in Prison. 156 Silence in particular is a band that I really, really dig. So seeing them on this track list as well is just like the icing on the cake. This really just feels like the band being like, we are here now. We are here, and we are just going to prove again why we deserve to be here. And that's kind of what this record feels like. It's not quite like a victory lap in a sense. It's just like, here you go. Like, this is why we deserve where we are, exactly. and hence why it feels like they've leveled everything up. This record is just bonkers from the second you turn it on until the second it's done. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't stop. It doesn't ask you if you're doing okay. Nope. It just keeps punching you in the face. There
are no wellness
spitting
checks.
on you, and then when it's done, it just leaves you in a pile of rubble in the corner. And I love it. I like like the title track, the way it opens with "To rid myself of truth." Hell must fear me. You know that title's all caps for a reason.
Be warned. Yeah.
They did a great job of picking what song to stylize in all caps. Clouded Retinas and Iron Sacrament, those two absolutely bonkers features back to back are just insane. Fear and Judgment is another one of my favorites. And then I do like the way it closes with Creator. It's probably like the most tame track on the record, all things considered. I think it ties things together very nicely. Tame in the sense of the album that we're talking about.
In the context of the record.
Yes. But this is such a phenomenal record, and I'm excited to see what this does for the band, considering the success off the back of the last record, the success the standalone single had in between albums, and I can only imagine where this is going to take them. I'm hoping for just an absolute catapult. They're going to be headlining this fall off the back of this record. Peep the dates, see if it's coming near you. They are bonkers live. They are so good. Hot Mulligan dropped a new album, The Sound a Body Makes When It's Still.
So Hot Mulligan has always been a band that I've been interested in, intrigued, because they've kind of fit that genre that I've slowly been getting into the last couple months, where it's kind of like Mom Jeans, The Wonder Years, kind of just that circle of whatever you want to call them. I know there's a genre, I'm not giving it to them. You looked like you were leaning in to say it.
I was about to say it, but I won't.
What is it?
Midwest emo.
This is Midwest emo?
Well, that's where they originated from. I mean, we've talked about it in depth when we talk about Hot Mulligan and Hot and Mom Jeans and bands like that. That they're kind of transcending that and going a little bit more like alt. But I guess since now we're getting into it, one of my points around the record is that I noticed them. This is kind of the record where they take both sides and they kind of dumped it into the album. Like the last record, they went all the way into the sound that they had explored with the EP, which I really dug that. That was like, I'm very picky about my Midwest emo, and I respected Hot Mulligan, but them going a little bit more of like a mass appeal alternative route was exactly what I wanted. This record, they stay with that on certain songs, but there's twinkle riffs, which they were not on the last record.
That's what I was loving. I'm not gonna lie, that's what I was loving.
But that was one of the points I was gonna make when I went. But since I started talking, I figured I'd just make it now instead of being like, I have a point to make later. But you can continue.
No, I was just gonna say, this is a band that I've dabbled in. I've thought about getting into them, and then I go, I have too much going on right now. So having this record and the singles that they dropped leading up to it was kind of a little teaser, kind of a little tester, and with the record finally being out, I'm giving myself that chance to go, do you want to pick up another band right now? And the answer is yes. I believe I do. I thought that this record was phenomenal. I saw your message in our chat while you were going through it, and I did not say anything because I didn't want to go all in. I didn't want to, especially because I was only like halfway through it at the time, and I didn't want to be like, actually, I needed to digest it and go, do I actually feel this way? Yes, I do. I completely agree. I think that they are balancing the Midwest emo mixed with kind of like the more alternative mainstream sound, I guess. It's a lot more palatable, it's a lot more digestible, because I'm not the biggest Midwest emo fan. I like the twinkle riffs, and I kind of leave it at that. I really like the instrumentals. Typically the vocals are kind of where you lose me, because the whole like joke with Midwest emo is like, if the vocalist can't fucking sing, it's a good band. That's kind of like, that's the joke that I've seen around Midwest emo. So it's usually where you lose me. With this band, though, and this record in particular, because all the other ones, I listened to them, I went, yeah, all right, and I just kind of left it. It's just how it's been. But with this one, it has that nostalgic note of kind of like Mom Jeans that I've known from like years ago when we first started the podcast, to like just new, and it's bright, and it's twinkly, and it just brings me joy. I don't know what it is. It sounds like something I would have listened to when I was like 12, and I still would listen to it now. I don't know. It brings me that sense of youth, I guess. So I really enjoyed the record. My favorite song is Monica Lewinsky. I really like that song a lot. I think it definitely helps. It gives the credit of it feels very nostalgic to me. It hits all the notes for me where it's twinkly. It feels very strong emotion wise. I haven't looked into the lyrics, obviously. They aren't up on Spotify yet, so I could not tell you what he's talking about. But because I'm the type of person who needs to have lyrics in front of me to actually hear it, and register what they're saying most of the time. But I really like the album. I think it's great. I really liked it. Yeah.
That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, I like I was saying earlier, and like Glory also said, this is kind of an amalgamation of what the band's done previously and what the band did on their most recent record and the EP previous to that. And is a nice blend. And I do really respect them, taking this wider audience that record brought them and kind of bringing them in to this other side of them, this genre that these people may not have heard of, because like this band was playing major music festivals, like you don't play major music, like they're playing See Here Now Here in Asbury in a couple of weeks. You don't play that festival if you haven't hit the mark just a little bit, like the outside market, just a smidge. They played some absolutely insane festivals for a band from the scene to play off the back of that last record, so they've definitely transcended the scene a little bit. So it's cool to kind of see them bring this newfound fan base that they find themselves with into the scene a little bit with this record. And I do think it's a nice fan service while also continuing to grow the band. It's kind of a mixture of both, which I think is the right move. You couldn't go all the way in on a fan service record when you're potentially, there's no ceiling. There's no ceiling to this. You can keep going. So I do respect that from the record, but me personally, this album didn't do a ton for me. I like the first half. I'm going to be honest. I was looking back at the track list, and like from And a Big Load to basically Monica Lewinsky, I do think that portion of the record is solid. I do not like the way it opens. I think it's way too slow and doesn't really build into anything and does not set the tone for the record at all. But from the second track basically to about the halfway point, I do think the record's solid. But it kind of loses me from that point forward. And it doesn't do a ton for me. It doesn't resonate, and it kind of just feels like the record's a lot of tracks. It's 16 songs. There's a couple of songs that are a little bit more on the interlude side, but it just feels like a little bit too much fluff at that point. And the songs on the back half just don't strike me the same as the songs on the first half did, and that's unfortunate, because I texted Glory after listening to the record and I went, this record is dookie. I had a little bit of time since then to kind of marinate on those thoughts, and what I'm coming away with is what I'm portraying now, which is I really like the first half, and I wish that the rest of the record kind of went for that, but the second half there's just this switch after Malam Minute, which just kind of doesn't do anything for me. The record doesn't pick up from that point, so I'm not going to sit here and beat a dead horse. You get what I'm saying. But yeah, that's my opinion on it. I think the record is all right, and I would totally spend time with the first half, and by spending time with the first half, I would the second half would just run, and maybe it'll grow on me. But those are my thoughts right now after spending a couple days with the album. It's fine. I was expecting. And it could have been my expectations, because the singles were a little bit more focused on the sound that we had heard from the record heard from the band from their most recent record, the previous one to this, which, like I said at the beginning, is what I liked from the band. And then all of a sudden they start pouring in previous influences and doing things that I respect them for, but is not what I go out of my way to really listen to in my day-to-day life. So it could be also slightly personal preference as well. But that's my overarching thoughts. They're going on tour. If there's tickets still available, because I know some of the dates are already sold out, peep the dates. They are a incredible live band. I've seen them a couple of times, and they are really, really solid live. So if it's coming near you, definitely peep the dates.
Yeah, damn straight. All right. Deftones dropped their new album, Private Music. I didn't remember ordering a fucking nothing sandwich. You know? Okay, let me just get my shit out of the way really quickly. I say sometimes after listening to a record, wow, I got nothing from that. But in reality, I could pull a couple things away from it and be like, you know what? I remember this. I remember that. Dude, what the fuck happened on this record? Like, what? I'm just not I'm not the target audience. You know, this like hazy like I like hazy metalcore, right? That's what we've been saying.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't metalcore. So it's like hazy like alt pop kind of shit. Light on the pop. Light on, I just don't know. I just threw that in there for whatever reason. So it's just like it came and it went. And then I gave it another tester and I was like, maybe I zoned out. No, it came and it went. And I'm just, what the fuck happened on this record? I think it's just so absolutely mid. I think it's lame. I don't know. I got nothing from it. I'm sorry, Deftones and Deftones fans.
Deftones fans, before you dislike bomb us, please listen to what I have to say. Okay. I'm not a Deftones fan. I respect them. I like the genre of music that they come from, the genre of music that they try not to label themselves as, and the scene that they came up in are all bands that I respect. So I respect what Deftones has done. I know the big songs, obviously, but they're not a band I ever went out of my way to listen to. We reviewed Ohms here on the podcast when it came out. We were both kind of sat here and was like, if this is the band that people, have this cult following over, yeesh. Not a fan of that record at all. But had no expectations going into this because, like I said, I'm not this massive Deftones fan. And honestly, this record kind of blew me away. Not in any sense of like holy shit, this is mind-blowing, but just like in the skew of like knowing what Deftones sounds like, knowing what the previous record sounded like. This record is miles better, and I was looking up other people's opinions to confirm whether or not other people were having that same opinion, and I'm noticing a lot of fans are feeling a similar way, that this is kind of a return to form for the band, which is the vibe I was getting while listening through the record and my minimal knowledge of previous Deftones work, which I really appreciate. The band is at a career high right now, and I think that this record is perfectly timed for that, and I like it. My favorite like note on the record is just that every single song flows beautifully into each other. Like it took me a few tracks to be like, am I falling asleep in between each song, and it's just like 30 seconds in I'm realizing we're on a different song, or is it actually perfectly flowing into each other and it's basically just one long song? It's the second one. I wasn't falling asleep, although I was very tired. I was not falling asleep. And I just thought that was a very nice thing to note, because bands will do that, where songs will flow into each other, but at some point that chain gets broken up. This record, every single song flows perfectly into another, which I just think is super dope. I just thought it was solid. I liked My Mind is a Mountain. I liked Infinite Source. I liked Metal Dream. I liked the closer, Departing the Body, which clocks in almost 6 minutes. But I think it's a very nice way to tie things up. Really, the first half of the record, the first 4 or 5 songs are all really solid. I think it sets the tone for the album very, very well. This isn't fucking party music. Like this is Deftones. This is getting your feels a little bit. The sonics on the album absolutely give that to you. The mixing, not the best, but it's standard it's the standard way that Deftones sounds, with Chino absolutely buried in the mix. I'm not gonna make a fuss out of that, although I wish I could hear him a little bit more. I know that's just the style. So I'm not going to make a fuss out of it. It feels very classic Deftones. Like I said, from what I know. So I really appreciate that. And I think that this type of record was necessary at the point in their career, and seeing the band do interviews where they're talking about like they can't believe the career skyrocket that has happened over the past few years. They're on tour right now, playing some B markets and a lot of Canada. So peep the dates if it's coming near you. They did a major market tour earlier this year. So peep the dates if it's coming near you. You go check it out. Woe Is Me dropped their new album Daybreak. This album is really, really solid. It's, you know, we had an interview with Michael, and it'll be out in due time. But one thing that we spoke about is the you know, the influences on the record, and how there's a little bit more country southern influence found on the album, and we hadn't heard the record going into the interview, so I was like,
what are you talking about?
Is it going to get even more twangy than like the one single that we had heard that was basically like a country rock song, and then the other single we had heard that had some southern-ish influence in it? Like, is it going to get
already twang?
Is it is it going to get any crazier than the little bit of twang that we've kind of heard scattered throughout the singles? And it really doesn't, which I really appreciate.
He scared me for a second when he said that. You could see my heart kind of drop, because I was like, "Fuck!" I was excited for this shit. Don't play with me, Michael.
Yeah, and listen, I can understand people being like, "What the fuck happened to my band? Why are they putting twang in their metalcore?" Whatever, I can understand that, but I think that this is the perfect take on a modern version of Woe Is Me. The band is not the same age that they were when the band broke up 10 years ago. They are 10 years older than they are now. So they're obviously going to make music that resonates with them at their age now versus what they were doing 10 years ago. If they were doing what they were doing 10 years ago, it's impossible that people would be laughing at them, because it would age poorly. Because it would be like, why is this band trying to do something from 10 years ago?
What's going on?
This isn't 2015 anymore. Come on, guys.
Damn.
There would be no winning. So I can appreciate them just kind of going for what a modern take on Woe Is Me is. And I think it's really solid. You know, the couple of singles that we had heard that were standalone kind of leaned into a little bit more of like very much just what modern metalcore sounds like entirely, and was kind of them finding their footing and where they wanted to go, I think. And with this record and now getting to hear it in full, I think they found their footing, and they found what they want the band to sound like in its current form, which is dope. You know, the way it opens, the opener is just kind of like sets the tone. It eases you in to get blasted right after that by Here's to Me, A Story to Tell Part 2. Semolina Boulevard is absolutely bonkers. Really, like, the middle half of the album is just like fuck you after fuck you after fuck you after fuck you, just keeps punching you in the face, which I can appreciate. I like Hell House. I like FU2 then. Devil in My Mind is absolutely insane. Sick Joke is bonkers. Like, there's so many incredible tracks off this record. I really dig it. Yeah, there's a little bit of twang on here, but it really kind of stops at the couple of singles that we heard. So the singles kind of covered the gambit, but honestly didn't show. The one thing the singles didn't showcase is how heavy this record can get at certain points. So there's a little bit of a surprise there for you. If you haven't listened to the record yet, you've heard some of the singles. Trust us, it gets heavier, and it doesn't get much more twangy country southern than it did on those singles that you may or may not have heard. I'm pleasantly surprised by this record, way more than I thought I was going to be, honestly.
Yeah. So I thoroughly enjoyed this record as well. The chat we had with Michael was incredible as per usual. I think that was like the third time we've spoken to him, which is really cool. Um, I really enjoyed this record a lot because of the amount of, I mean, ear candy sonic shift that there is with this record. I mean, it covers so many areas in the alternative scene. I mean, you have kind of like the octane core. You have a couple of tracks that are a bit poppier. You have the twang mixed with the metal, and then you have just the sheer ass kickers, the beaters that are just insane. Just littered throughout the record. Of course, you have a couple slower tracks. I think Bedtime Stories is like halfway through the record, and it's like the slowest track on the record. So that's always a little off-putting for me personally because I just don't like it when artists and bands put the slowest track dead center in the middle, but it's either that or towards the end of the record, and then it's like, why are we ending the record on a so for me, there's like no winning. Let's just not put out slow songs. That's my solution to that to everyone ever, not just woes me. Um, Even Bedtime Stories though, I did enjoy, even though it is the slowest track on the record. No, I think that this is a incredible welcome back. I think this is a great return to Woe Is Me. I really have no notes. My personal favorite is I really liked Here's to Me, A Story to Tell Part 2, which is the second track. Technically, it's technically the first official song off the record. I did like FU2 as well. Devil in My Mind is also It Fucks, and then I did like the closer as well. I fucking love the opener, the closer. Shit fucks. Good job, guys. Um, I think it's an incredible record, and I think if you have not checked it out already because of preconceived opinions or just feelings about the band returning, put that shit away. You're holding yourself back from finding something new and something incredible. So, old music's still there. Check out the new music. See if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. But I'm pretty sure there's something for everyone on this record. It's phenomenal.
Agreed.
Yeah. 3 Days Grace dropped their new album Alienation.
Yes, they did.
They did.
This is the first full record with the band going as dual vocalists. They brought back the old vocalist. The vocalist that replaced him stayed in the band. They're going two people now. Matt and Adam are both at the helm carrying the vocal duties. Now, this record is exactly what had to happen with all of the excitement around the band having, you know, the original vocalist back and going the dual vocalist route, and also coming off the back of the last record. I feel like this album was necessary. That album did not blow me away outside of the singles. I really liked the singles, and then the rest of the record was just like, wow. And not in like a holy shit, this blew my mind, and like a wow, I can't believe the quality drop off between the singles and the rest of the record. And there's still that feeling somewhat on this record. I'm going to be honest with you. The singles are very obviously a step up and are singles for a reason, and have a little bit of extra spice to them that's very obvious while listening through the record. But once the singles end, I think that the quality stays there enough where the rest of the record is very solid. You know, like, and that was my biggest concern, because it's front loaded with all of the songs that we've already heard, which is fine. That's what they did with the last record. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to like the first 4 songs because I liked them as singles. I'm going to probably like them in a slightly different order on the album, but everything after that, who the fuck knows? This is up in the air. Who knows? So Mayday was an incredible song to come back with. I've only streamed that song a couple of times. I've heard it 7,000 times on Octane. So I can say I really like that song. And Dominate, I think, opens the record very well, and I like it a little bit more in that first slot, you know, to then have Apologies following it up versus hearing it as a single. And then, you know, you get into the rest of the album, and like I said, I think it's really solid. Slight step below from the singles, absolutely. There's a little bit more pizzazz in those singles, but you know, picking it up with In Waves, it just kind of keeps the energy going, which I can really appreciate. I like Death Wish, because I feel like any song that's titled Death Wish winds up being insane. This track is no exception. The power is crazy as well. Don't Want to Go Home Tonight is like a little weird, a little funky, a little out of left field from what is basically a hard rock record. That song's a little bit on the weirder side, but I really like that. The band gets a little experimental with it and doesn't just stay in the lane, which I really like. The title track, Alienation, is incredibly solid. In Cold Blood, great as well. And then the closer, Another Relapse, clocking in at 5 minutes, but ties the album together very nicely. I like I said, I didn't really know what to expect from this record. I didn't have a ton of expectations. I'm not like this massive 3 Days Grace fan that's like, oh my god, there's a new 3 Days Grace record. But I was very excited for the last record based on the singles, and then felt like I was burned pretty hard when I heard the rest of the album. And I just kind of stayed very neutral with this one. So hearing this album and what the non-singles became, I'm pleasantly surprised and blown the hell away.
Okay, well, I thought that this record was fine. I went into it with an open mind, and I was excited. So a couple tracks into the record, I was like, oh shit, I'm really enjoying this. And then I just got ear fatigue. It just got old to me very quickly. I guess it just felt very, I'm telling you, like, I was sold for like 5 songs in. I was like, holy shit, this is blowing me away. And then it just felt like it was just the same sound after another, it just kind of, it killed me a bit. I don't know. Definitely towards the end of the record, which is funny because my favorite track is the closer, and it does heavily overlap with my point of just ear fatigue and just kind of like how maybe radio friendly everything is, and how it just kind of, it doesn't have that balance, in my opinion, of like the stuff for the older fans, plus we gotta make a buck or two on this, so we're gonna make it a little more palatable. My personal favorite was Another Relapse, which kind of toes the line of like a really decent song and also just kind of corny. I don't know. It's incredibly corny, actually. I'm sorry. I'm making it, I'm touching on that lightly, saying kind of, no, it's corny as shit. I'm sorry. But it fucks, and I enjoyed it a lot, but that's kind of just how I feel about the record, where it's just a bit corny. Especially, I mean, I liked the title track. I did enjoy Death Wish a lot. But honestly, I got ear fatigue very quickly on this record. Putting that aside, I think it's decent. I didn't hate it. I think it's probably just one of the albums where I'm gonna pick a couple tracks off of it that I really enjoyed, which there are a good bit of those tracks off the record that I went, oh shit, this is fucking crazy. This is an incredible song. But I don't know if I'm going to revisit the album in full again. Maybe I need more time, because sometimes with these records where I kind of just burn out on the sound off first or second listen, it takes me a second. So maybe towards the end of the year, I'll revisit it and I'll be like, oh shit, no, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted. So it's just, my brain's weird like that. So I'm giving it the benefit of a doubt because I did enjoy it. I just kind of hit a wall with it about halfway through. All that to say, I thought it was fine. Yeah,
fair enough. They're co-headlining with Breaking Benjamin. That tour kicks off in a little bit, a few days actually, and they're bringing along Return to Dust as the support. So peep the dates, check and see if it's coming near you. The Devil Wears Prada dropped 2 new singles, Where the Flowers Never Grow and Wave. Announced their upcoming record coming out November 14th. I am very, very
happy birthday.
I am very, very excited. I am not going to forget that album release date. That's for sure.
That is the best present anyone could have ever gotten you. That's so special. I love that shit.
Prada is one of my favorite bands. I'm very excited for this upcoming album. Comes out on my birthday, like Lori said. So I'm excited to jam it on my birthday. Driving home from the Motionless in White, infamous this in full.
You're just having a great day. Yeah.
Driving home. I'm very excited. But yeah, these singles are really good. It's continuing this case of the band not being super heavy on this album cycle. None of the songs have been this absolutely insane guttural, which we got a lot of on the last record. This is a little bit more on the cleaner side. Jeremy's picking up a lot of vocal duties, but you know, they're such an incredible, fantastic band that it's hard to be like, I don't like this. It's different. It's not exactly what I want from Prada, but they are really excelling at what they're doing so far and what we've heard. So I really can't complain. New Devil Wears Prada is always exciting to me.
I really enjoyed the first track, Where the Flowers Never Grow. I definitely think that hits kind of the Devil Wears Prada note that I expect from them. It's on the heavier side. It's fun to listen to. And then Wave kind of caught me off guard because it's slower and it's, I don't know, it didn't hit me as a single track. It felt like an album track. All that to say, I do really like the band. So I am very excited to see what else they have going on.
Hell yeah.
Taylor Acorn dropped her new single, Hangman. This shit fucked. I really thoroughly enjoyed this track a lot. I gave it a second spin because I was like, damn, this kind of went off a little bit. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. She's hitting the gas hard on this album cycle. Announced her sophomore record already. It's coming out October 24th. I feel like the signing announcement to Fearless was like literally yesterday, and we're already on the second single of the album cycle. This absolutely fucking rips, and I'm very excited to hear this upcoming album. Windwaker dropped a new single, Victory Lap. Glory, take it away.
I love Windwaker so much. Okay, they've come out of nowhere in the last like 2 years for me and have become one of my favorite bands. I'm traveling to fucking Alabama to see them next month. What's that about? I don't know. So seeing that they've been teasing this one for a couple weeks, it feels, I don't know, I've just been seeing Victory Lap and kind of their teaser and everything for it for a minute. So I had my expectations were pretty high. But honestly, I don't know how I feel about this track. I think it's fine. I think it's good, but it's I guess I was expecting more hyperviolence, like rips off of hyperviolence. It feels like a different tone of it, like a different shade of it, but not exactly the same. So I think it's fine. I need more time with it. I don't dislike it, but I don't love it. That's my review.
Fair enough. I thought it fucking ripped, honestly. It felt very much Windwaker coded, which is just pure chaos. That's what I got from this track, and that's what I want when I listen to them. So I thought mission accomplished, honestly.
Oh, for sure. I mean, they crushed it. Yeah. They crushed it regardless. Yeah. Silverstein and Cassadee Pope dropped their new single, Autopilot. I enjoyed this a lot. Shout out Silverstein.
Yeah, I also did enjoy this a lot. This is another one off of Silverstein's second half of their double record coming out September 12th. So to be here in a few weeks. And I thought that this track fucking ripped. I'm very excited for this upcoming album. Motion City Soundtrack and Matt from Citizen dropped their new single, Your Days Are Numbered. This one, feels like Motion City Soundtrack, which is what I get from everything. But I thought the song was just okay. Like the other singles have been like, holy fuck. And this one, I was just like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not doing a ton for me.
That's fair. I didn't get much from this song. I thought it was fine, and I just kind of moved on. I do like Motion City Soundtrack a lot. I'm very excited for the upcoming record. I don't know. Didn't get much. Extortionist dropped their new single, Cycle of Sin. This shit sounds like Alpha Wolf in the best way possible. I love Alpha Wolf. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. It just kind of has that snarl and like grime of kind of like Australian metalcore. They're from like fucking Ohio. I had to look to see where they were because I was like, they sound like they're from Australia because they all kind of have that tone. They're from Ohio, or Idaho, one of those. I don't fucking know. Fucks really liked this track a lot. Followed them on Instagram and shit. I was like, I need to stay in the loop of this because I really like this. So yeah, big fan.
Yeah, this single fucking rips. They announced an upcoming album coming out in October, I believe. And I am very excited. I saw them open for Attila a few years ago, and I've been following along ever since. So this track rips. Dayseeker dropped their new single, Shape Shift, another cut off their upcoming album coming out in October. And I think this tune is really, really solid. I've liked everything that Dayseeker has done with this with the singles off this upcoming album, and I'm just excited to finally hear the record in full.
Damn straight. Dayseeker is one of the best bands in the scene right now. I think they're fucking crushing it, and I'm excited. This single is fine. Yeah, it's good. Greyhaven dropped their new single "Cemetery Sun." Shout out Greyhaven. This band can't miss. I genuinely, every single song is just a hit for me. This is no exception. I'm very excited for this record. I'm very, very excited for this record.
Yeah. Shout out Greyhaven for sure. This song is bonkers, as everything that they do is, and I am very, very, very excited for this new record. Gore dropped their new single "Wrath." We've been following along with Gore basically since the inception, the first EP, and this is no exception of being another banger from Gore. I really dig this track.
I liked this as well. This was kind of beautiful, so that caught me off guard. I mean, with the name Wrath, I'm gonna assume it's gonna be like a fucking rager, but it was kind of beautiful, and I was like, what's happening here? Did we get some mix up? But I really enjoyed it. The Barbarians of California dropped their new single "Modern Fashion." I thought this fucked. I thought it was good.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by this one. This has been a song I've heard a bunch on social media, funnily enough, on TikTok, because we follow them on TikTok, and I've been seeing the song a lot, and it's been stuck in my head, just the way that they deliver the words "modern fashion," that little phrase there. I really dig it. I like what the Barbarians of California are going for, and this is kind of just an extension of what we heard off of the first album. So I'm here for it. And for our last topic, Ryan Oakes dropped his new single "Money on My Mind." I thought it was solid. It's good old Ryan Oakes, putting out singles every 4 weeks. This guy does not miss a release ever, and I thought it was solid.
This song is what I've been asking for. He's taking like a step in a different direction. He's still doing like his rap, but it feels different. The beat feels different. His tone feels different. It's like a completely different side of him. This is what I wanted. Yes. Stay right here. Sit. Just do that. Keep doing that. This feels so different from all of his other tracks he's been releasing. And it makes me very excited because I like this direction and I hope he stays this way. Yes, for a little bit, Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, that's all of the topics we have today. You can follow us on Instagram, it's Good Noise Podcast, Facebook is Good Noise Pod, TikTok is Good Noise Podcast, YouTube is Good Noise Podcast, all the audio platforms are all Good Noise Podcast. Patreon is patreon.com/Good Noise Podcast. Glory's got your Patreon supporters, Twitch subs, your important plugs, your merch store plug, your Amazon storefront plug, and then we're gonna sign off.
Check out our merch. It is goodnoisepodcast.creator-spring.com. Check out our Amazon storefront. It has everything you need to start a podcast. If you want to do that, sure, why not?
Yeah.
Thank you to our Patreon supporters, Matt from Pulses, Pop Punk Apologist, Infamous Debub, Tyson from Heal the Hurt, and Eric. And thank you to our Twitch sub, Matt, again from Pulses. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Important plugs, Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, Free Palestine, Fuck ICE, support small bands, support big bands, because fuck, they need support too. And yeah, just be a decent person. Be good. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, that's all we have today. I've been Shane.
I've been Glory.
And we've been the Good Noise Podcast. See you when we see you. Bye.
Bye.